How do you normally set goals? Do you use a well-formed outcome? Let's go through a well-formed outcome in NLP is. Again, if you look through the books, if you read the articles, you'll see that there are many variations to the well-formed outcome. But it really is all about goal setting and deciding what it is you want. Now that sounds a little bit flouncy and airy-fairy to some about setting goals, but think of it this way. Setting goals is nothing more than getting in the car and having a direction that you want to travel, a destination that you want to get to. Going through life without a goal is just like going into the car for a drive. It's pointless, can be enjoyable, but you'll never quite know if you've got there. See, you can only know if you achieve something if you set the goal ahead of time. So setting a well-formed outcome type goal gives you something to head for, something to work for, and it also lets you know once you've hit that, you'll also know that you have achieved. And you can give yourself a little pat on the back. So, as I mentioned, there's lots of different methods or breakdowns of a well-formed outcome, but so many of them have got the same component parts. Now, the one that I really like is PECSAW. P-E-C-S-A-W. PECSAW. Now, the first piece of that is P's for positive. Now, whenever you state a goal, you need to state it positively. Now, that doesn't mean like going, I really want to have £1 million really positively. What it means is saying what you actually want. What's quite surprising is when you ask someone what they want, they'll give you a list of things that they actually don't want. That's not the case. That's like jumping in a car and say, where do you want to go? And say, not Manchester, not Birmingham. That is not a goal. So what is it you want? You don't want to have less fat. You don't want to be less tired. You don't want to have more money. How much money do you want? When do you want to have your book completed by? How much do you want to weigh by your wedding? What dress size do you want to be? How big do you want to build your team? How many people will be in it? So stating a goal positively is the first piece of setting a goal. Seems obvious really though, doesn't it? But think about that. Whenever you're setting a goal, it needs to be in positive. E is for evidence. Now, whenever you set a goal, what should happen when you get to that goal is something will be different in your life. So if you had a goal of writing a book, then the evidence of you achieving that will be your book is in your hand. Simple, eh? Or you've sent a book to someone for Christmas, your own book handwritten inside. Now that's real evidence to you and to everyone else that when you set this goal, that you have actually achieved it. So have a think about what those evidence items are. What will the scale say exactly? Not about 13 stone, not roughly this or nearly that. What exactly, what evidence what will be really evident in your life when you achieve that goal? C is for context. Now, some of us have different, we'll all have different goals. Now, some of our goals aren't conducive to all of our life. They're only applicable in certain areas. So whenever you set your goal, really think about in what area of my life is this relevant, helpful or beneficial? In what context? Now think for a moment. Let's say that you wanted to become a powerful public speaker. Now, speaking seems to be something that's dying because of the digital age, so let's pretend that you want to become a really powerful public speaker. You want to be authoritative. Do you want to be like that with your children? No. Do you want to be like that with your wife or husband? Probably not. So you have a think about in which context do you want to achieve your goal. Because different life goals, different business goals, different health goals, they'll all be they could be in different categories. So think about in what context do you want to have your goal or achieve your goal. S is for self-achievable. Now, whenever you're setting a goal, you need to be in that driving seat. You need to make sure that you're fully in charge of that goal. You've taken full ownership, full accountability, and full responsibility for achieving that. You see, some people will set goals saying, I can't wait to help my wife finish her novel because we're going to make hundreds of thousands and travel around the world. It's a lovely goal. Don't get me wrong. I'd love that too. But it's not within your or my control. That's within someone else's realm of control. So always think on your goals, is it within your control? Can you make it within your control? Because if you're relying on others or other things outside of your capabilities, then there's a big chance you're not going to reach your goals. Advantages and disadvantages. Sounds strange. How can you have a disadvantage about achieving a goal? Well, a famous saying of mine, you'll hear lots of these quirky ones, but changes create changes. And what that means is if you change something, you'll find that something else changes as well. Let's say that you create a goal to go to the gym 5 days a week because you want to be a certain dress size or a certain suit size for a wedding. 5 mornings a week you want to go to the gym for an hour. That's your goal. You know it's within your control. You are going to go and do it. So what things might you lose as a result of getting up early and going to the gym? It might be a few drinks out with your friends in the evening because you know you've got to get up early. Are you willing to sacrifice those? It might be a social event that you normally go to on a Tuesday and a Thursday evening. Now you've got to sacrifice purely because you need to fit the gym in, need to fit your eating habits in. But also have a look at everything else that you might gain. What unsuspecting things that you haven't necessarily put into your mind might you gain by achieving this goal other than the goal? Really think about all the advantages and disadvantages about that goal. It helps you think more roundly, more broadly, helps you define it. It needs to be worthwhile. Everyone can start a diet. Everyone can start going to the gym. Everyone can start to write a book. It's not the starting that's the problem. It's the keeping going. It's that motivation, that tenacity, that perseverance to keep on going. So it has to be worth your while. It has to be something that really drives you. You're not going to hit your goal for weight loss or whatever that might be by saying, I just don't fancy doing it today. You're not going to hit your monetary or business goals by saying, I'm going to take just 2 weeks off because I think I deserve it. What's going to keep you driving through the ups, through the downs, through the hardship? And it's things that hit the value part. So when you think about goals, why is that important to you? So in the context of the goal that you want to achieve, what's important about that? What will that do for you when you have that? What might you lose or not get as a result of not going for this goal? Really think about how you can make this goal. How is it really worth your while? That'll give you the tenacity, the motivation, and the drive to keep on going. At the end of the day, if you set a goal and don't reach it, it's like going on a journey and not getting there. It doesn't work. So I hope you've enjoyed that simple PECSAW model. There are hundreds more throughout the net, hundreds more in different books, but find something that fits for you. In essence, it's something that a goal needs to be stated positively. You need to be able to show clear evidence once you've achieved that goal for yourself. You're not going to call me up and say, Mike, I've done it. It needs to be in the right context. Make sure that that's the case. It needs to be within your self-control. Remember, it's all about you, no one else. Do not rely on your goals being attached to someone else of what they have to, might do, or should do. Really think about that. And what are the advantages and disadvantages other than the goal that you might have to face? What might you lose as a result of getting that goal? Be honest with yourself. And lastly, worthwhile. Once you've gone through that, how do you make it really worthwhile? How do you make it something that you really, really want to go after? Set yourself a well-formed outcome, or well-formed outcomes in many areas of your life, and give it a go. Bye for now.